All right. So right here is the book that I want us to read together. It is a book on Martin Luther King Jr. And right here you can see that it says Martin's Big Words, the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We weren't able to celebrate Martin Luther King Day together since we're virtual and I wasn't there right then, but I'd like for us to celebrate and learn a little bit more about Martin Luther King. So right here, you can see on the book that these are glass panes, kind of like you'd see on a church building. Maybe y'all seen some of these before. So Martin Luther King's Big Words. To Isaac with love from Grandma Dorsey. So let's look at the picture right here. You can see it is Dr. Martin Luther King as a boy with his mother, and he's pointing out to a sign, and that says white only. Let's see what he thinks about that. So everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw the signs, white only. His mother said these signs were in all the southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad, until he remembered what his mother told him, "You are as good as anyone." And those are really true words. His mother must be a really wise woman. So let's see, right here, it looks like he's reading some type of old book, and he might be in a pew, so he might be at church of some kind. So let's read. In church, oh, look, we saw the picture, and now we figured out where he was even before reading. Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. That must be what book was in his hand. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. When I grow up, I'm going to get big words too. So he's inspired. So right here, you can see this is Martin Luther King as an adult, and looks like he must be a preacher because he's speaking in a church building. So let's see. Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father, and he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Everyone can be great. Very true. Here's another picture of him. He looks more concerned now. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. That's a man from India that you may have heard about. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. He said, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So we're learning from him that we don't need violence to solve our problems. And he learned that from Mahatma Gandhi from India. And we learned about India earlier. So that's a nice tie-in. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. And this is a quote. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together. In here, we see just a photo of a teacher and a student. or a mother's child, and they are dimming out a lamp in the church, or a light. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so that he could sit. She said no and was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them angry. They decided not to ride the buses until they could sit anywhere they wanted. And right here we can see a picture of an old bus. And here's the end of the bus. And here's the man walking by. For 381 days, they walked to work and to school and to church. They walked in rain and cold and in blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. And this is another quote. When the history books are written, someone will say there lived black people who had the courage to stand up for their rights. So, as you can see, people used to not be treated the same, but it was from the courage of people like Martin Luther King who stood up for themselves and each other that helped to separate that divide or to clear that divide and make it where everybody has the same rights as everyone else, or at least should be. So in the next 10 years, Black Americans all over the South protest for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. So as you can see, they're holding the flag, making sure that it doesn't touch the ground. That's one thing that we're going to learn about on how to respect the flag. They didn't drop the American flag, they held it, it seems like. And here's a quote. Wait, for years I have heard the word wait. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. They, as in Martin Luther King and the people with him, were jailed and beaten and murdered. But they kept on marching. Some Black Americans wanted to fight back with their fist, but Martin convinced them not to by reminding them of the power of love. He said, "Love is the key to the problems of the world." And here you can see people banding together and holding hands. And here's Martin Luther King praying. He said, "Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed. His brother's house was bombed. But he refused to stop. He must have been very brave. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped because God is with this movement." That is a quote from him. So right here you can see he's in front of a flag now. So right here it says, "The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. He said, I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protests, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The whites only signs in the South came down. As you can see, he's preaching triumphantly. And it says, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world, and people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not with fists. And here's a artistic piece right here. Martin went wherever people needed help. In April 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On his second day there, he was shot. He died. As you can see right here, this is a memorial. And there's the giant words on here, and it's kind of hard to see. Freedom, peace, together, I have a dream, and then love. And those are behind the words. His big words are alive for us today. All right. So hopefully that helped you learn a little bit more about Martin Luther King and his fight for equality and why we celebrate him today. And thank y'all for listening. I hope you have a great day.